Everybody. Oh, look at that. That worked. Awesome. Good evening, everybody. Today's going to be a little bit, I think, like a family reunion. Lots of stuff to celebrate, a little crowded, friends and family here. Lots of stuff to celebrate. So it's a good evening. So with that, Deb, would you kindly do a call to order?
Counselor Williams,
Yes.
Counselor Hancy,
Here.
Counselor Purser,
Here.
Counselor Parrish,
Here.
Counselor Miller.
Present.
All right, thank you very much. I'm going to ask everybody to stand for a moment of silence to collect your thoughts, and we'll follow by the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I love the room when everybody's here. All right. I already know the answer to my question, Deb. We have an agenda set forth before us. Are there any changes or amendments to this agenda?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we have several changes to the agenda. Under proclamations and presentations, we need to add a proclamation to honor School District 51's Phoenix Girls Wrestling Team and Coach, a proclamation honoring Fruita Monument High School Boys Wrestling Team, a presentation and acknowledgement written by Counselor Miller for a student athlete, a proclamation for Days of Remembrance. And then under council reports and actions, we need to add one executive session. Also, we need to, from the consent agenda, we need to remove Resolution 2025-14, which was the agreement between the City of Fruita and Clear Networks.
All right. Thank you very, very much. With that, we have an amended agenda set forth before us.
I move to approve the agenda as amended. Second.
All right, we have a first and a second. Any questions, concerns, anything that you would like to discuss? All right, seeing none. Deb?
Counselor Williams,
Yes.
Counselor Hancy,
Yes.
Counselor Purser,
Yes.
Counselor Parrish,
Yes.
Counselor Miller. Motion passes 5-0.
Great, thank you. All right, like I said, we have a lot of presentations, a lot of things kind of shifting, so hopefully get this right, but this should be fun. So the first presentation is Fruita Student of the Month for April, Student and Teacher of the Month for Fruita High School. And we have Principal Newt Klusmeyer here. I think I'm going to ask you to come up. I gave you at least 30 seconds worth of warning. If you'd like to say a few words.
So it's events and situations like this that make me really proud to be the principal of Fruita Monument High School. Tonight, we get to honor Maya Pierce. Let's all give it up for Maya Pierce. Maya is an exemplary senior. She takes challenging courses. She's well-rounded. She's involved in our community. She's an artist. But more than that, she's a good human. She possesses those soft skills, those traits that we want all of our Fruita Monument graduates to possess: empathy, thoughtfulness, kindness. So not only is she crazy smart, but she'll be a good person when she leaves Fruita Monument High School, which is great. So let's give it up for Maya. And then at Fruita Monument High School, we have, I know I'm biased, but we have the best staff in the Valley. But there are a number of teachers that make Fruita Monument what it is. And Lisa Crabtree, who we're honoring tonight, is one of those teachers. She teaches AP US Government for us. She does so in a way that challenges students and gets them to excel. She also helps run our AP programming, and it is not an exaggeration to say that Fruita Monument would not be the great school it is without Lisa Crabtree as part of our staff. So honored to honor Lisa Crabtree as well.
Thank you very much. With that, we'd like to call Maya up. We have a certificate for you, a day pass and a Fruita sticker. So come on up.
And Lisa Crabtree, please, social studies teacher at Fruita Monument High School, in recognition of your dedication, passion, and hard work. A lot of back and forth.
All right. Next proclamation, I get the honor of reading, which is proclaiming April 26, 2025 as Military Bound Graduate Recognition Day. Whereas the freedoms and securities that the citizens of our Western Slope communities enjoy are the direct results of the continued vigilance of the United States Armed Forces. Whereas less than 30% of high school seniors are eligible for military service. Whereas less than 1% of high school seniors choose military service. Whereas the commitment to serve by these young men and women is essential to preserving the liberties that have enriched our community and this nation. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Fruita City Council does hereby proclaim Saturday, April 26, 2025 as Military Bound Graduate Recognition Day. The City of Fruita recognizes and honors these brave young men and women. We value the selfless act of service they have committed to today and encourage all citizens to participate in the celebration of their service and to convey their gratitude. In witness whereof, I have honor to set my hand and cause to be affixed to the official seal of the City of Fruita this first day of April 2025. So thank you very much. And I apologize because I don't have my right notes in front of me. I just lost it. And this is to be accepted by Christy Hale and others from the Western Slope Blue Star Mothers. Would you like to come up and say a few words, please? Thank you.
So Western Slope Blue Star Mothers is the local chapter of Blue Star Mothers of America. We are mothers that have children either serving or who have served in the military. And we wanted our high school graduates that are going into the military to be recognized like we see our athletes get recognized into, signing in to play sports after high school. So about 4 years ago, we decided to host this event. Our first year was very small at a local church picnic shelter, and we quickly realized that was not going to be sufficient. So we ended up out in the city of Fruita because you guys have the beautiful Vietnam War Memorial. What better place to hold a military event? And so what we will do at this event is honor all of the local high school graduates that are going to have already signed to go into the military service after graduation. And this is for the entire Western. So on the 26th, we will have a ceremony out at the War Memorial starting at 11 a.m. Where they are introduced and recognized to the community. They will take their official oath in front of their friends and family. And then afterwards, we will provide a picnic where that allows the families to connect with other military families, organizations, that type of thing. So we are just thankful for the city of Fruita to be supportive of this event, many veteran organizations, and a lot of community members as well.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you for all that you do, and thank you to our high schoolers.
Quick question. How many students are going to be at? Do you have an idea? Great.
Cool.
Awesome. Great.
You're not done yet. We got something for you. All right. Next, James is going to read proclamation honoring the Mesa County School District 51 Phoenix Girls Wrestling Team and their coach. James, take it away.
The Mesa County School District 51 Phoenix Girls Wrestling Team has demonstrated outstanding skill, determination, and sportsmanship throughout the season. Whereas their dedication and perseverance, the Phoenix Girls Wrestling Team has secured their first ever state title, bringing pride and honor to their schools, community, and the city of Fruita. And whereas the team's achievement is a testament to their hard work, resilience, and commitment to excellence in the sport of wrestling, and whereas their success has been made possible through the leadership and guidance of their esteemed coach, Chad Dare, who has been recognized as the 5A Girls Wrestling Coach of the Year for the second consecutive year. And whereas Coach Dare's dedication to the development of student athletes has had a profound impact on the team, fostering a culture of perseverance, respect, and achievement. And whereas the city of Fruita recognizes the Mesa County School District 51 Phoenix Girls Wrestling Team for their historic accomplishment and commends the athletes, coaching staff, families, and supporters for their contributions to this remarkable success. Now, therefore, we, the Fruita City Council, on behalf of Mayor Bremen, do hereby proclaim recognition and honor to the Mesa County School District 51 Phoenix Girls Wrestling Team for their notable achievement in securing their first state title, and extend heartfelt congratulations to Coach Chad Dare for his well-earned recognition as 5A Girls Wrestling Coach of the Year. Say anything? You gonna say anything, or? That'd be great.
Great.
I want to, first thing I want to do is to just address the rest of the coaching staff. We would not have the success with this group of kids unless we had the amazing support and coaching from the staff, the diverse staff that we have. And then we can only, point the girls in the right direction. They are incredible. Not only did we win the 5A state champ, but our JV girls, they don't get a ton of recognition. They are kind of the heart of this team, and that's part of the team that people don't really see. But we went to the JV state tournament and we won that tournament too, and that indicates the health of our team and what's coming in the future. And so I wanted to recognize the entire team for an outstanding season.
Could we have them all stand up, Chad?
No, we got more.
Oh, there's more.
We got
Okay,
more.
okay, never mind.
So, no.
This is just-
I was going to help some of these out. Or- Let's go ahead. James, can you help hand some of these out? We got gifts. You stole my line. Right, as Amy Miller just said, but wait, there's more. There's lots more. All right. Next, Janine's going to have the honor of honoring the Fruita Monument High School Wildcat Wrestling Team for their outstanding performance at the 2025 CHSAA 5A State Tournament.
Whereas the FMHS Wildcats wrestling team has demonstrated exceptional skill, determination, and sponsorship throughout the 2025 CHSAA 5A state tournament. And whereas the Wildcats wrestling team achieved a remarkable fifth place team finish, with 4 individual wrestlers earning honors and contributing to the team's success. And whereas Tatum Williams now holds the state champion title, Cal Unrein and Will Stewart placed second in their weight classes, and Gage Chilwitzki placed third. Whereas their success was made possible through the leadership and guidance of their esteemed coaching staff, who have dedicated countless hours to the development of the student athletes, fostering a culture of perseverance, respect, and achievement. And now, therefore, we, the Fruita City Council, on behalf of Mayor Bremen, do hereby proclaim recognition and honor to the FMHS Wildcats wrestling team for their notable achievement at the 2025 CHSAA 5A State Tournament, and extend heartfelt congratulations to Tatum Williams, Kel Unrein, Gage Chilwitzki, and Will Stewart.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Someone want to,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I don't know. Does anyone want to, do you guys want to?
Is it?
All right.
Just go.
All right. We're just going to go for it. All right. All right. Amy, I'm just going to let you run with this one.
So when I bring proclamations and presentations, they look just a little bit different. I don't do the whereases.
All right.
So
I'll give them a moment.
you guys don't want to stay for Tatum's?
Yeah.
They're like, okay, bye.
There's like, we got lots tonight. All right.
So anyways, when I bring a proclamation or a presentation, it looks a little bit different than what you've just seen. And especially when it's one of my kids. I've known Tatum since he was in kindergarten. And so when he had this really notable victory, I wanted to honor him a little bit special. So sorry. Okay. From age 4, a bright spark in his eyes, dreams forged strong under Colorado skies. Hours of training, sweat and strain, turning passion to skill through struggle and pain. In Fruita, Colorado, where hard work blooms, he honed his craft in crowded weight rooms. No mountain too high, no match too steep, even losses pushed him his goals to keep. He watched his brother claim glory's prize in the same arena that's seen many highs. With dedicated coaches, he learned from the best, inspired to conquer each daunting test. Class 5A's summit, the 285 throne, a title he claimed, a legend now his own. With grit and grace, he wrestled through, his dedication and courage true. A crown well earned on the grandest stage, years of effort turned every page. His triumph a beacon for others to see, that dreams can be won through tenacity. He lifts others up with both words and deeds, encouraging and pushing with strength he leads. A spirited leader, humble and kind, helping his teammates to sharpen their minds. Now Tatum holds a place where champions stand, his name recognized all across the land. A journey begun with a small child's dream, now shines forever with a bright golden gleam. The city of Fruita now beams with pride, holding Tatum's victorious stride, honoring Tatum's victorious stride. An example of courage, strength, and grace, his champion's heart none can replace. Congratulations.
How about Amy for writing that?
So did you hear under breath on the way back? Counselor Hansi said he could take him, so.
Like right now?
Yeah, I'm good. Let's do it.
Is this enough space? All right, fine. Well done. All right, switching tone a little bit. Our next proclamation is proclaiming the week of April 23rd through Wednesday, April 30th, 2025 as Days of Remembrance in the city of Fruita. Councilmember Aaron is going to read this, and our former council member, former mayor, and now Board of Trustees for CMU, Lori Buck, will come up and accept. So Aaron, why don't we give people a couple moments to exit before we read? Everybody here.
Yeah, places to be. Most likely dinner. Knowing the kids.
Whereas the Holocaust was the state-sponsored systematic persecution and annihilation of the European Jewry by Nazi Germany and its collaborators between 1933 and 1945. Jews were the primary victims, with 6 million Jews murdered. In addition, Roma disabled people, Poles, gay men, Jehovah's Witnesses, Soviet POWs, and political dissidents also suffered terrible opposition and death under Nazi tyranny. And whereas a well-educated community is necessary to promote the ability to respond effectively to hateful speech and to prevent actions based upon hate. And whereas in recognition of hatred, racism, bigotry, and intolerance challenges our society today, the state of Colorado requires that by July 1st, 2023, each school district board of education and charter school include Holocaust and genocide standards as a requirement for high school graduation. And whereas the history of the Holocaust offers an opportunity to reflect on the moral responsibilities of individuals, societies, and governments. And whereas we, the people of the city of Fruita, Colorado, should always remember the terrible events of the Holocaust and remain vigilant against hatred, persecution, tyranny. And whereas we, the people of the city of Fruita, Colorado, should actively dedicate ourselves to the principles of individual freedom in a just society. And whereas the days of remembrance have been set aside for the people of the city of Fruita, Colorado, to remember the victims of the Holocaust, as well as to reflect on the need for respect for all peoples. And whereas pursuant to 1980 Act of Congress, the United States Holocaust Memorial Council annually designates the Day of Remembrance of the victims of the Holocaust, this year to be Wednesday, April 23rd through Wednesday, April 30th, 2025, including the Day of Remembrance known as Yom
Hashua. I'll help you out on that one.
on Thursday, April 2024, 2025. Now, therefore, we, the Fruita City Council, on behalf of Matthew Bremen, Mayor of Fruita, Colorado, does hereby proclaim the week of April 23rd through April 30th, 2025 as Days of Remembrance in memory of the victims of the Holocaust and in honor of the survivors as well as the rescuers, the liberators, and further proclaim that we, as the citizens of the city of Fruita, should work to promote human dignity and confront hate whenever and wherever it occurs.
Thank you. So, like I said earlier, former council member, former mayor, and now board of trustee, Lori Buck.
Thank
Welcome.
you, Mayor and members of council. I'm honored to accept this proclamation on behalf of Colorado Mesa University, President Marshall, and the Board of Trustees. You know, we're pretty insulated in our little Grand Valley bubble, so it's really important to have these conversations. And we should never, ever forget the victims of government-sponsored atrocities of the past and the present. So CMU's Holocaust Awareness Series is next week, April 7th through the 11th. All events are open to the public and free. Go to the website to check them out. There's I mean, there always are interesting ones, but there's some really tough discussions going on. I think they're very valuable. So again, thank you for your attention to this very important set of conversations that we should always be and continue to have and never forget. Thank you.
Thank you.
You.
There is an empty seat. I mean.
All right. Our last and final proclamation, but certainly not the least of importance. Rich, you're going to read the proclamation proclaiming Friday, April 25th, 2025 as Arbor Day in the city of Fruita.
Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas the holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, lower our heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now, therefore, we, the City Council of the City of Fruita, do hereby proclaim Friday, April 25th, 2025, as Arbor Day in the city of Fruita, and urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. And further, we urge all citizens to plant and care for trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations.
We have our very own Parks and Recreation Director, Mark Mancuso, to come up and accept. And we'll go over your nickname afterwards.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Really excited to be recognized for Arbor Day. This is the 32nd year that City of Fruita has been recognized. This year, celebrating Arbor Day, we actually have a tree planting event going on at Snooks Bottom. So our Parks and Rec Commission is setting that up. So we've got a Snooks Bottom cleanup and tree planting. We're going to be planting around 30 cottonwoods, small gallon containers where anybody can plant those. And then we'll also be planting some ball and burlap cottonwoods. With the grant that we received to do this, we'll have tree protection around the trees, around the base, and they'll have the watering bags that will fill up that will water the trees slowly to try to get them established. So we're pretty excited that $6,000 grant came up. Another way that we celebrate Arbor Day locally is each year we host the poster contest. And this year's winner was Kinley A. from Shellady Elementary. So this year's contest theme was the superpowers of trees. So there were some really cool ones. Next year, if you guys want to come into the community center, we post them on the windows of Rec Rats. And so you can go in and look, there's so many amazing little artists and so many cool things that they're doing out there. But Kinley won, so they sent this to the CTC, Colorado Tree Coalition, and they'll vote for the state winner. Those winners will be announced next week. Our Parks Department will go and plant a tree at Shellady. Hopefully we can put some tree protection around that too, so the kids don't climb on it when they're little. But yeah, we've been doing that for several years now. So thanks again for honoring us.
Mark, do I have your picture taken? Can you explain what your job was earlier tonight? What was your job earlier tonight?
I don't think there's that many.
So, and right before the meeting, I opened up a letter from the Arbor Day Foundation. I'm not going to read the whole thing. But Fruita, the headline is Fruita earns 2024 Tree City USA recognition from Arbor Day Foundation. So once again, thank you, Mark, and his team. All right. We're out. We are wrapping up with proclamations and moving into presentations. And we have a presentation from Mesa County Regulatory it's a Mesa County Regulatory Program update by Carrie Gudorf, hopefully. All right, and Joshua Martinez. Hello again.
Wow, here, I'm here to bring not so exciting. Oh, you can't see it. Let's see.
That's kind of a hard act to follow.
What I was thinking, I was like, man, this is not. Mm. Hi, council members. It's been about a year since I've seen you. I think I recognize most of the faces. But just want to give you an update for Fruita's part for our TMDLs and the stormwater program that you participate in with Mesa County. So again, Carrie Kudorf, I'm the regulatory programs manager for Mesa County. And it wouldn't be me if I didn't start out with a couple of jokes. So, so why were the students' grades underwater? They were below sea level. You know, there has to be a stormwater joke for everything. And so, sorry, and there's no water jokes here, just a dry sense of humor. So. Anyways, all right, I'm done. So this is the stormwater team. Josh Martinez is the stormwater coordinator. A little bit of an update. And we've got Josh Worth, and I just recently hired a new team member. He would not change his name to Josh, so I'm disappointed. But because we're growing so much, we added another team member to help us be able to level things out because we're growing so much across the valley. Fruita, of course, I couldn't believe it. I came here for the first time today in quite a while, and I couldn't believe the amount of the growth. So I'm here to give you an update on the swim manual, which is something that all of the communities are participating in. That's Palisade, Grand Junction, Mesa County, of course, School District 51, and Fruita. The swim manual is kind of the backbone of what we base our development off of. There's going to be hydrology and how we design things and how things are built so that we can make sure that we're doing it accurately. This manual wasn't updated since 2008, and it has a lot of references that are out of date. So if anybody remembers the 521 Drainage Authority, they're referenced in there, and that's incorrect, and a lot of what the regulatory components are incorrect. So what we want to do is also integrate some more arid climate conditions into the manual, and bring stakeholders into the meeting. This document is also, because of the new requirements, is going to be ADA accessible, and so it's going to just bring this document up to date. So something that Fruita is participating in. This is a link to the Mesa County Stormwater Management Manual. It is a website where people can go and they can sign up. Whoever's interested. Use all my other windows. Oh, you can't see that. Oh, it's not showing. Dang it. Okay, I might have to, I'll just have to send you that. Okay. But on that website, we hired Right Water engineers. They're out of Denver, but they're really class act group of engineers that have rewritten these manuals across the state of Colorado. They're just going to be a great group that's going to already spearhead. They created a website. On that website, you can sign up. If you're a developer, you're going to go into the overall review of each individual chapters. Or if you're a person that is from the community, for example, Kimberly, it will be part of the main design and review of each of those chapters. That will be a very important part of things that are coming up. Next, as I think everybody knows, we've been working on the water quality portion for Mesa County and all of Mesa County, right? We talked about the TMDL a lot in the last couple of years between bringing the CDPHE to task to try to get them to understand that Mesa County is different, and we can't just put water quality limits on our stream segments that were just so different. Our TMDL got finalized this year, last year in September of 24. Those stream segments that are north of the Colorado River are impaired for E. coli, total recoverable irons, and selenium. Adobe and Leech Creek are both E. coli and selenium as well. So what we're trying to do is go into these stream segments and really take a deeper dive into understanding the why. Get better flow data, get better data in general so that we know with the new TMDL, we're going to be getting a new COR 90,000 stormwater permit. And that's what our community bases our stormwater program off of. And in that permit, we're going to have limits for those TMDLs. And so it's going to be really important right now for us to get ahead of this, to go in and collect data and to better understand where is this exactly coming from. So as you remember, last year we were going through and we're looking at MST markers. So we're looking to see who's done it. And we're able to look at the microbial source tracking and see if it's coming from an agricultural source like a hooved animal, or if it's coming from a human marker or a canine marker. Something that I really learned last week that was pretty interesting from the USGS is because our gut biome is so similar to our canines, our pets, our best friends, that sometimes dogs can show up as human markers and human markers can sometimes show up as dog markers. So some of those are a little bit confusing. So we're trying to gather more information. That one I don't think we'll ever be able to sort out, but we're able to better look at, are things coming off of our MS4? What can we fix? What projects can we go after? What are we really looking at from the main picture? So this is the map for the TMDLs. And as you can see, these red stream segments are the impaired stream segments. And they stop at the Government Highline Canal. And we don't have background samples. A lot of them, of course, are dry because they're coming from the desert. But that's where we're getting our TMDL from. And you can see, I'm sorry, actually on this map, you can't really see, but there's our MS4 is somewhere a banana right in between all of those stream segments. So we're capturing and we're having to maintain and control upgradient of our MS4. And for Adobe Creek, there's only a small little sliver that is actually within our MS4 within the city of Fruita boundary. So it's not fair, but we're just looking at where things are coming from. So this is what USGS is sampling and what we're looking at. They've done sampling from 22 to 24, and then to characterize the E. coli. And then in 25, we're looking at comparing all the results. This is one of the years that we're actually collecting a full year of results. And so this is really going to give us some more data so that we can go through and we can write these reports and we can better understand everything. And then something else that we're doing is we've hired SGM, and they are helping us understand instead of what's coming off of our stream segments, it's actually coming out of our outfalls, what's coming out of our culverts that are draining from our streets and from our subdivisions, and what's coming off of those, because what's in stream is going to be different than what's coming off of our MS4. And so we want to understand what the differences are. So we are using them to they've come up with a dashboard for us. And I think if I click on this, you won't be able to see it as well. So I'm just not even going to mess with it. But it's a really cool dashboard where they've taken all of the data that has ever been collected in the 20 years of water collection data in the valley, and they've compiled it all into one place. And so we can click on a data point, and we can say, oh, that was collected by the CDPHE. Oh, that data point is really far off. Where was that collected? Oh, that was collected from an outside source. Maybe we need to look at that data point a little bit. And they're also doing this in conjunction with the USGS. We all are sitting in a lot of meetings together. They're not the most exciting meetings that we're talking about water quality. So that's really cool that SGM is helping us. With that, what we've done right now is we've created a dashboard, and we've created a sampling and analysis plan. So we know what we're doing, where we're sampling, what the samples are going to look like, who's going to be doing the sampling, and everything else. My goal is either in 25 of fall, which I think that there's some funding that might be available, and 6 is to have SGM go out and actually collect those samples. So right now they're just collecting the backbone of everything, and then we're going to move on to the actual sampling events. Cool. Okay, so this is what the dashboard looks like. It's fuzzy, but this is just a broad view of what it looks like. And then these are the actual sampling locations that are on Adobe and Leech Creek, and this is from the USGS. So they've created the sampling plan. It's going to fill in some water quality gaps. We're going to sample from the outfalls, and we're going to capture samples from the urbanized outfalls and urbanized area. And we're going to collect samples in irrigation season, non-irrigation season, and after storm events, which is really important because typically off of our culvert streets, we're not seeing drainage unless somebody's really irrigating their lawn really well. We're not seeing any runoff. And so we want to capture that because that's going to be important when we come back to the CDPHE and they're like, well, the stream segment is high in coli. And we can say there is no water coming from our culvert outlets. And so we can attribute it maybe to some other source, waterfowl that is beyond our control. Okay, and so next up is Josh Martinez. He has not presented to you guys. So, you know, make sure he gives you guys a joke too.
Good evening. My name is Josh Martinez. I'm the stormwater coordinator for Mesa County. Carrie kind of touched on it briefly, but this program is a cooperative effort between Fruita, Junction, Palisade, Mesa County, and School District 51. We have intergovernmental agreements together to make sure that this program operates seamlessly and it's kind of a one-stop shop. Part of this program, we are required to do construction stormwater oversight. So anytime that there's a development over 1 acre or greater, we have to issue construction stormwater permits. And our permit with CDPHE dictates that we do 45-day routine inspections to make sure that they are in compliance. However, if a project is in non-compliance, we have to go back out and do a 14-day follow compliance inspection. And furthermore, that permit also requires that we have enforcement mechanisms in place if there are violations of chronic recalcitrants or folks that just can't get it. So what I'm going to talk to you tonight about is some policy changes, potential policy changes, I guess, depending on how good this meeting goes, of how we would like to see the program go. So I'm just going to jump into the existing process. I'm really sorry, I should have blown this up more, but this is our existing stormwater notice of violation process. At the very top there in the blue diamond there, that is the 45 routine day inspection that I'm telling you. We go out on site, we assess the conditions. If everything's great, goes to the green, it's in compliance, you don't see a skin for 45 days. If we find non-compliance, then we now have to notify the permittee, the developer, the builder, whoever is the permit holder, you're in non-compliance. They have to respond within 14 days. If they blow us off or something happens and it gets pushed, we have to do that 14-day follow-up. That's mandated by our permit. If we go out there and they fail, they get a notice of violation. This song and dance continues for a second and third follow-up compliance inspection, and then enforcement at 42 days. Essentially, what I would like to see is this process, which is we're trimming off an additional follow-up inspection. So you get 2 follow-up inspections. If you fail to comply for whatever reason, at 28 days would enter enforcement. And this is kind of where the ask comes from you guys. But a little bit of rationale before we get to that. A majority of projects are achieving compliance within 14 days, like 70%. 23%, I'd say, are resolving stuff within 14 to 28 days. So by changing this time frame, it's really only bringing in that 5% that's kind of abusing the system right now and making a more level playing field for the folks that are doing it right in the development community. The 28-day time frame is still very, very generous in my professional opinion. Other MS4s across the state, you're looking at enforcement between 7 to 14 days if you're not doing what you're supposed to. So we are still very flexible for the development community, but I do think this is the right point of action at this time. In the 28 days, as you remember, aligns really nice with that 14-day follow-up, so it makes the scheduling a lot cleaner on our side with our inspectors. I pulled some inspection data. I don't want you to get overwhelmed by the numbers, but there's total projects, routine inspections, mind you, those are 45-day, and then the compliance follow-up inspections, those are 14-day. Please take note that we did have a pretty big bump in projects from 2023 to 2024. Big boom. Not sure what caused that spurt of growth, but the routine inspections really only increased by 3.4%. But if you look at the compliance follow-ups that happened from 23 to 24, it jumped by 47.7%. And to me, that is a telltale sign that people are gaming the system and they realize that they can wait until 42 days to resolve things. And they're absolutely right. If I told you had to fix something and in your mind nothing happens penalty-wise until 42 days, you might take the full time, especially if it's not something that's making you money. Stormwater regulations usually don't work that way. They're penalty-based incentive, really. So to help bring that back down, again, we're asking to just drop off that additional follow-up inspection. And to help paint the picture, that was for all projects. I've pulled the city of Fruita numbers as well. Your total projects have remained about the same from 23 to 25 year to date. Routine inspections, really not so bad, but you guys also saw a pretty big uptick in compliance follow-ups from 23 to 24. We have had a couple projects in Fruita. We won't name names, but the trend also happened in Fruita, and that's why I'm here tonight, is to see if you guys would be okay with us talking about changing this policy. And the reason why it's going to be so different from you guys is you have your own building department now. So you're kind of autonomous. You can do your own thing, but it's going to take a little bit more cooperation. So I've had some initial conversations with Dan Karras and Kimberly Bullen, but right now, as I understand it, I could be misrepresenting this, but Dan Karras has the authority to stop work. So if something was wildly out of compliance, he does have that authority. I do think a council resolution might be cleaner to provide clarity and a clear framework for other people in the departments to act if Dan's not available, or maybe it needs to be delegated. I'm not sure how everything needs to work. But essentially, it would be a planning clearance revocation. So once the planning clearance is pulled, that would allow your building department to say no more building inspections, no more building permits until you come into compliance. And this is a case-by-case basis, and everything should be. Some discretion is always good. But we want to put an emphasis that this is like a last resort measure, but we have to have enforcement mechanisms. There can't be no penalty. So really, at this time, I think stop work is the best, cleanest fit. It's not a one tool solve everything, because there are times when construction and development, a stop work doesn't really mean anything if there's no building permits associated, right? If they're in early grading and development, they might not have building permits. That might not mean a lot to them. And that's where you guys might come in with a resolution that would allow some kind of intervention for those times where building permits aren't applicable, but we still need them to come in. And right now, that's the only enforcement action we've discussed thus far. I'm open to other ideas, but again, you guys are so unique. You have your own building and planning department. I think you have the autonomy to do what you please. I just need help on the enforcement side. And so, like I said, the next steps, ongoing discussions with you guys, ongoing discussions with the building and planning departments, and maybe getting some clarity through a resolution or something like that. And with that, any questions that you might have for Carrie?
Bring it back to you guys. Any questions?
Here, should we talk to Dan a little bit?
Okay, I know, all right, I've got some questions in terms of before the kind of those conversations.
Have a one.
Water quality or the
For you.
Okay.
I just was curious how often you see when you go to that first 45, like how often do you find people in compliance right then and there? Like that you don't have to go to the next step.
It happens. I couldn't give you a number off the top of my head, but yeah, I mean, it's a point in time of inspection. Some days are better than others. We understand construction is a messy business. We're not asking for perfection. We're asking for responsiveness. So we come out and tell you that something's an issue and you have a very generous amount of time to fix it. Just open communication, keeping us in the loop and making sure that we're meeting those deadlines. But yeah, some folks have compliance issues and some folks get it. It's kind of a developer by developer deal.
I've got a question. So you're working with the municipalities to update the swim manual. And then that swim manual sets the basis for what is compliance. Can you, I'm gonna ask you, speaking the mic.
It gives us the design criteria. So what we're looking at for rain capture runoff volume, and how we might design something for a box culvert, or how drainage might look coming off of not off of a construction site, but off of a development. So it's more that criteria and the framework background for the hydrology and the hydraulics and the rainfall and the capture volume for what's going into these detention.
So then I apologize if I missed it. Then what sets the compliance? Like, here's how, so how do people know you're in compliance or out of compliance?
So that goes through the review with the stormwater group, and they look at the swim manual and they say, oh, this is the criteria, that the Williams are doing at this site, and it meets the criteria for the capture volume for the amount of impervious surface that they're creating. And so we're using that so we can make sure that development is using best data possible. And it's also looking at the rain runoff volumes. So right now what we're using is a little bit of the Mile High Flood Control District and their volumes, because they're the most up to date. They've done the most work on the research on these, not the Front Range. And we need to use rain volumes that work for Mesa County. We need to use not rain gardens, because we don't have enough water here to make rain gardens work. We need to do things more like, saw some examples, and I'm sorry it's late in the day for me. So
No worries.
a little bit, but it's different here on the West Slope, and so we're trying to make better choices when we're making detention ponds where we're not seeding them with grass, because we don't need grass here. We need more filter basins that maybe have some shrubs that are better for the arid Southwest.
And I apologize because I'm still confused. So if I'm a builder and I'm designing a subdivision, how do I know going into it? Like, what's the governing
What do you
body
What do you
that I can
reference?
reference to say, okay, as I go through this, I'm in compliance or I won't be in compliance?
So yeah, there's two different permits that you're required to get. There's the MS4 permit, which is the local municipality. And since we're not a qualifying local program, you also need to pull a construction stormwater permit with the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment. That permit with the state is the COR 400,000, which is the general permit for construction discharges. We have elected to be the same stringency as the state. You can always be equal to or greater than, but you cannot be less strict than the state. We've chose to adopt that COR 400,000 as the minimum permit requirements for our program. So when we go out on a construction site, or our compliance inspectors rather, they are assessing your project based on the COR 400,000. If you are not compliant with the state permit, you are not compliant with our local program. That is the dictating document as far as compliance. However, we do have an enforcement response plan that we're required to create following an EPA audit in 2022. So the policies from which we adopt are in the enforcement response plan, but really the overarching document for compliance is with the state permit.
So it is the COR 4,000 in the enforcement plan that a builder would go to say, okay, as I'm designing this or planning, those are the documents I can look at to make my decisions to make sure I'm in compliance.
For construction compliance, it would be the COR 400,000. For hydraulics and drainage design criteria, it would be the SWIM. You can reference policies and procedures in the stormwater management manual, but really what Carrie was getting to is that's for like hydraulics, rainfall data, hydraulics. That is what they should be designing their drainage for their development to meet that criteria. But when they're, disturbing in an active construction or worried about sediment erosion control, they should be referencing the COR 400,000 to be in compliance while they're doing construction. But the SWIM would be used by a design engineer to help them build their final drainage report, do the calculations for inlet sumps, overflow capacity for roads, that sort of.
Okay.
Sorry, they're two different things and used at different times, but they do lean up eventually.
Okay. And I'm just trying to follow to make sure I understand kind of if I'm on that side, how to make sure I don't go sideways on this.
Yeah, and we offer training annually, every February to developers, consultants, builders. If you want to learn what our program is about and how to comply with construction stormwater permit, that training is offered every February at our office. We just had it. Really encourage folks that are struggling with compliance to come to those because it's for their benefit.
Okay.
I have some questions. So as you're trying to go down from like 3 follow-ups to 2 follow-ups, are you trying to get everybody in the county to get to that mark so that we're even across the whole valley, so nobody's different? I guess we're the only ones that are separate from Mesa County, so.
I think around we were talking about changing it, but the city of Grand Junction is already in. They are doing enforcement at 28 days. So consistency for the development community, I think, would be important because if you're working on one side of the development, I have this many days, and you come to Fruita, it's like, well, now I'm getting hung up because I'm trying to keep all these dates straight. So
Sure.
having it uniform and even across the board from the municipality standpoint is good, but also for the developer.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I was going. So you're seeing that so Junction's already doing that, and you're seeing that the other entities are following, are talking about following suit.
It would just be us in Mesa County.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, say.
Gotcha. And so as you go I appreciate you bringing up Fruita's data. Are those 23 violations or whatever that was for 23, that big uptick? Are you seeing that those are various developers or construction outfits, or are you seeing that there's this same group having multiple violations?
I would say that it's single family residential. That's probably the sticking point. Commercial development, they're pretty small builders. They get single lot permits. It's the single family. Like once infrastructure is in and vertical home building started, you have way more subcontractors on site. So it's just a lot more cooks in the kitchen, and there's a lot more opportunity for things to go wrong. So yeah, once it goes vertical on like subdivision,
That's recent problems. And so are you seeing repeat violations by the same groups, or are you just, it's just happening sporadically through the whole community of development?
It pops up here and there. I don't know, it's almost cyclical sometimes. Folks are doing good, something happens, holidays, stop. Just a full circle.
Sure.
But yeah, maybe.
Carrie, I appreciate you talking about the whole project going on. I know that we've been hearing about the selenium thing. I don't remember, that's been a few years now that we've been talking about it, and appreciate you managing that and making sure that we are properly represented out here, because we have different issues than the Front Range. I used to live out there, and so it's like, we are different. So I appreciate all your efforts in there and look forward to have you come back when you can present further data, because I think that'd be very interesting to see what we have. And Josh, appreciate everything and with what you're doing, and appreciate you bringing the suggestion forward. I know I'm willing to listen further to bring it down from 3 to 2 periods. But thank you very much.
Mr.
I think the only thing that I would want to add to that discussion was that you had mentioned that Junction had moved to the 28-day. Has there been any pushback that you guys have seen or heard about or had to deal with, or?
No.
Sure.
Yeah, they're set up a little bit differently in their municipal code. They actually have the ability to write municipal fines and issue municipal court summons.
Mhm.
So they've actually elected to not do the stop work route, just because there's a lot of intergovernmental correspondence that would need to happen, and maybe getting enforcement right on day 28 might not be as clean. So they've just said, for me, or for the attorney's office, anything you have 7 days prior to, let us know 7 days out when you do your final inspection. If they don't have it, you let the attorney's office know, and then we'll contact them. And we've had a few people get close, but it's always been resolved before the attorney's office had to get involved. But that's the route they're going. What you guys have.
So it's working.
Yeah, it is
Sure.
working. The pushback, it's not really pushback. It's a policy change. I think us doing this in good faith with the development community speaks to how much we want to work with them so they can be successful. I think making these, really abrupt changes without getting not in good faith. So I think this is us talking it through before we just flip the light switch kind of thing.
Sure. All right. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Dan, is there anything you would like to add to this conversation at this point in time?
Shaking his head.
He doesn't want to get up. Look at him. He's like comfortable.
Staff does not have any concern with that proposed change.
All right. That's what I was.
So then, just to be clear on terms of next steps, Dan and Shannon, you guys will work together to put something together and kind of work through the process for public discussion. Okay. Everybody comfortable with that?
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Both.
We'll see you next year.
See what the differences are on the
Only
TMDL.
time we see you, Carrie.
Better jokes.
Those are good ones.
Those are pretty good.
You could stop by and hang out for proclamations anytime.
Yeah.
I will.
Actually, that many.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So just to make sure we are done with proclamations and presentations.
Hour and a half.
Yeah, an hour. Yeah, wow. So this takes us to the public participation and consent agenda. This section is set aside for the council to listen to comments by the public regarding items that do not otherwise appear on this agenda or that are on the consent agenda. Consent agenda items are items where all conditions or requirements have been agreed to or met prior to the time they come before the council for final action. These items will be approved by a single motion of the council. We're here to hear from everyone who wishes to speak, and we want to ensure all voices are respected. To maintain a welcoming and productive environment, we ask that there be no clapping, cheering, booing, jeering, or sign holding. This helps ensure that everyone feels comfortable sharing their thoughts, even when opinions differ. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to speak, and I ask that you please introduce yourself with your full name and address. While we won't be responding tonight, please know that we are certainly listening. Thank you for those that are here and for engaging in this process and for treating each other with respect. With that, I would like to open it up for public comment.
Mayor, can I point of order with, when we ask community to give their address, it needs to be a specific location. It can't
Yes.
be Fruita, Colorado. It
Yes,
needs to
a
be
specific street address, please.
and home address.
Yes,
Thank you.
please come on up.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Paul Schultz from Red Rock Subdivision 143 Altamont Court, Fruita, Colorado 81522. The city of Fruita is actively enabling the destruction of historic irrigation infrastructure, family farms, wetlands, and the rural character of this valley, all to benefit private developers. Let's start with who exactly approved the piping of the Skiff Avenue Canal. Fruita official core response states, quote, "This work is being done by a private developer and is not a city project." Also, quote, "The city does not have any correspondence responsive hereto." That is false. Official documents about Iron Wheel subdivision and addressed specifically to the city of Fruita, attention Dan Karras, specifically discuss piping of the Palmer Drain. Yet your response to a legal records request claims the city has no involvement and no records. That's not transparency. It's misdirection, and it reflects Fruita's total lack of transparency and accountability. On April 11th, the city of Fruita is forcing the Bedeaus into Mesa County Court for you to unnecessarily, improperly, and unjustly take private property from Bedeau's Remembrance Farm by eminent domain. Solely to serve private developers, there is no community benefit. You're not protecting agriculture, you're eliminating it. You're not balancing growth, you're clearing a path for developer profits at the expense of our community. And you're not telling the truth, you're hiding behind the complete lack of transparency and accountability, just like you are doing with the Fruita urban growth boundary. You're destroying history like the 1800s era carriage house on 19 Road, burying wetlands like the Skiff Avenue Canal, and breaking trust. We demand the following. Number one, that the city of Fruita immediately halt its eminent domain taking of private property at Bedeau's Remembrance Farm. Number two, that the city publicly acknowledge its role in facilitating the piping of Skiff Avenue Canal. Number three, that Fruita stop displacing family farms in favor of high-density development that benefits only private interests. You councilors are creating your legacy for the city of Fruita and your personal legacy, a legacy of destruction, concealment, and the abuse of power. Sacrificing farms, wetlands, local history, and public trust to benefit private developers. The people of Fruita deserve better. The record speaks for itself. Protect the land, protect the truth, and protect the people. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. At this point in time, anybody else care to speak?
Tessa Bynum, 255 North Ash Street in Fruita. So in addition to the amazing graphics and everything that was presented on the stormwater system and everything like that, I just wanted to include some questions that I have on who's going to be enforcing the irrigation rules and regulations, and with the drought and everything that is going on with us. There are a lot of people that like overwater, and they water their sidewalks and their streets. And I don't know if you guys know this, but that is not how concrete grows. So with the pollution and everything that goes into our water and the new code, municipal code that went in, and we're not allowed to wash our cars on the streets. So why are we allowing people to overwater their sidewalks and their streets and their yards to allow pesticides and herbicides and all of the other things that they put on their yards to go into the street and into the stormwater? So that is all I have for you today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, is there anybody else that would like to come up at this time and speak? All right, seeing none, I'm going to go ahead and close public participation and bring it back to council. We have a consent agenda, amended consent agenda. that's been presented. Does anybody want to pull anything off the consent and discuss it? Any questions and concerns with items on the consent? Deb?
Move
Have a motion?
Sorry, thank you.
the agenda as before us.
That's okay.
Jumping the gun. I knew we'd have it.
Good.
All right, now, Deb.
I'm sorry, who seconded?
Karen did.
Thank you. Counselor Hansi,
Yes.
Counselor Purser,
Yes.
Counselor Parrish,
Yes.
Counselor Miller, Counselor Williams.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Great, thank you. With the passing of the consent agenda, I'd like to acknowledge two newly appointed boards and commission members. So we're going to, with Jeffrey Moorman for the Livability Commission for a 3-year term that will expire April of 2028, and Al Condor to the Livability Commission for another 3-year term that will expire in January of 2028. And once again, thank you to everybody that is willing to step up and volunteer to be on our boards and commissions. It's greatly appreciated and greatly valued. So thank you to those two. With that, we don't have any public hearings tonight. So with that, we're going to move into our administrative agenda, and Shannon, you are up.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor and City Council for the opportunity to present. As we do with every department head, we always like to take a chance or take an opportunity during a regular meeting to take time to introduce the new department heads to City Council. So I'm very excited to introduce our new city engineer, John Bolden. He's with us tonight. He also serves as our city's floodplain manager and our stormwater manager as well. So if you didn't ask any questions during Carrie's presentation, John will definitely answer them. But the city engineer position has been vacant for about 6 months. During that time, actually, it was our planning, community and development director, Dan Karras, who is helping out with the department, overseeing them. So I want to thank Dan for all of his hard work over the past 6 months. Oh, yeah. And when we went out for city engineer, I was a little concerned. Sometimes with these professional positions, they're hard to recruit for, but I was very happy with the response we got. We received 3 applications, one from another local government and then 2 from the private sector. And I was actually very excited. Everyone was very qualified and it was a very good pool of applicants. So after going through an interview with our engineering staff and also our leadership team, we decided to offer the position to John Bolden, and he started yesterday. So very excited to have him on the team, and excited for him to jump right in and get started on all of the projects we're working on, but also all of the other things we have. So John, do you want to come up and say a few things to council and answer any questions? John has excellent experience. We actually stole him from SGM because of the culture, which he will tell you, and I didn't tell him to say that, but we're very excited to have John, and instead of me giving an overview of all of his credentials, I'll let him kind of share a little bit about himself.
He didn't tell me to say that, but now I will. You guys have already seen me a couple times, so there's nothing new there. One thing I want to expand on, not because he said it, but I've had the opportunity to sit here for the last 6 months, and people can fake happiness for a while, and it starts to show through, but it never showed through here. And that's what convinced me to take the leap and jump over. I've my whole professional career, I have worked in the private sector, barring one internship with the city of Fort Collins. And I've never worked anywhere with a more welcoming group. And I love the problems that we have to deal with here. They're great challenges. And I'm excited to meet them. There's already a great staff. They were functioning fine. I'm just going to help them. And any questions for me?
You already answered mine. My question was going to be what made you make the leap? So that's exciting to hear.
The happiness quotient. And I wasn't unhappy before. It's just people are genuinely happy here. And it's exciting to come in.
So day 2, your official day 2, you have to come up and speak. Only going to get better.
That'll be great.
Yeah.
Thank you. And thank you for being part of the team.
Thankful that you're here. Thank you.
And just to expand on the earlier stuff, I'm not opposed to that 28-day. I think it'll have a lot of positive impacts on our public works. It'll reduce the amount of work they have to do to clean things, which is the streets, but it's also the underground stuff that's a lot harder to deal with. And they were throwing around a lot of codes and stuff, but basically you take a training, you learn where to put silt fences, you learn where to put inlet protection. It's not rocket science. It's not overly burdensome. So I would offer my support for that.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
So much.
Welcome.
Welcome.
All right. So Shannon, we're just going to keep rolling with you as we go to the city manager's report.
Sure. So only a few quick updates. This morning, I sent out a email and calendar invite for our next tour of the old Fruita Middle School. So we're able to confirm that with Eddie on April 22nd at 5:30 p.m. We'll be doing a second tour of the middle school. We have a short list of stakeholders that we will invite to it, but I just wanted to ask if there's anyone apart from that, and I can share that list, or the mayor can send out that list as well, that you'd like us to extend an invitation to. We will definitely do so ahead of time as well. So that'll be 5:30 on April 22nd. It is a special meeting, just an hour before our workshop. And since we'll go straight into the workshop shortly after that, we'll grab some dinner as well for council and staff. Our next meeting is a special meeting. I apologize about all the proclamations, although I thought those were really great. We had to throw them all on this meeting because our next meeting is a joint town hall with the Board of County Commissioners and some of the other elected officials from Mesa County. So just one quick reminder. Council did give direction to staff at last month's workshop to set up a meeting at 5:30 prior to the town hall, just to have a chance to discuss how many people you'd like to interview for the city council vacancy. We've already received several applications, so we will, as soon as that closes here in about 2 weeks from yesterday, we'll send those out to you, and then that meeting can be for the purposes of how many people do you want to interview, and then at the next meeting you can determine who, if it exceeds a certain number, and after that you'll go forward with the formal interviews on the 29th of April. The town hall with the Board of County Commissioners, that's usually reserved mostly for them and their electeds. We also have had some representatives join us as well. I think Representative Soper joined us last time, and at the time, Senator Scott joined us as well. So not a formal meeting, but if there's any Fruita questions, we'd be happy to answer them or even provide an update, whatever council prefers. And then my last update, the Fruita Academy starts tomorrow at 5:30. 30 people enrolled in the Fruita Academy, so it's our largest Fruita Academy ever. So we're very excited about that. We also expanded it, as I think I shared in a previous update. So now each one is 3 hours, but we also add some other organizations like the Fruita Chamber, Ute Water, Lower Valley Fire District as part of that too. So I think it's going to be a really cool and a great addition to the program, and hopefully people get to ask a lot of questions and certainly learn a lot from those other agencies. Tomorrow is the mayor, the city manager, and the administration department. So all the fun stuff, budget, HR, and finance, and then the chamber. So should be a good night. We might need to get some coffee for the budget portion. We'll sort that out. Yeah. Yeah, that last budget guy was not very lively, right? That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, I'm going to bring it back to council for any reports and action items. Anybody want to volunteer and go first?
I have nothing to report. Oh, I know that never happens.
I do have something that.
Do tell.
Okay, the Tourism Advisory Council met this past week, and we heard presentations from the Chamber of Commerce on Fall Festival and Farmers Market, from the Fruita Blue Star Mothers, both funding had already been granted in the policy of those who have had previous events didn't have to make a presentation every year, but the council approved the funding for both of those. Dinosaur Museum requested funds, that was granted. Desert Rats Trail Running presented an application that was approved for Well, they didn't ask for an amount. The council approved $500 for that. The council has a new matrix that Hayden Jansen designed that allows us to more consistently review all applications. And I think is going to be a real plus so that it's based on,
Equitable.
yes, for all organizations making requests for funding from the Tourism Advisory Council. And finally, there was talk about their presentation at the workshop and expressed a hope that the council will truly decide what the purpose of billboards, silos, and other signs are before going forward with whatever is decided. And that was it. Other than the next meeting was moved to a week earlier because of a conflict on the normal time. It's great.
Can I ask a follow-up question? And I might be just forgetting. So you're talking about how we've issued or released some money for grants. Is it that do we give them a pool of money and then we are authorizing them to spend it however they see fit? Is that the process?
Generally, as part of the budget presentation, FTAC will make a recommendation to council, and then we cover it during our one of our budget presentations. The events don't change too often. We do get a lot of the same events, and that's why we created that sponsorship model where they don't have to apply each year. But as long as there's some of those long-standing events that have received funding before, they can just come and give oral presentation to the FTAC. But they make the recommendation, and that recommendation is ultimately approved by council with budget adoption.
Thank you for the reminder.
Of course.
Truth is, we have, very little oversight
Yeah.
over what goes on there. Like there's a good chunk of money every year that's budgeted for the tourism. And then mainly they are it does come to us, but they in general have made the decision, like you just heard, they made the decision. We don't have, we could, but we do not.
They're mini grants is a good
Yeah.
term for them. It's not a
It's a big
massive
deal.
amount.
Yeah.
It's just enough to help
Yeah.
things get legs.
But I'm just saying, in general, it's not like something that they have to come to us every.
No.
It's capped at 2, isn't it?
Yeah, so the mini grants, there's 2 funding sources. There's the special event funding, which is kind of the bulk of that funding. I think we have $43,000 in event funding prior this year, but then they get a mini grant line item. So when people come in, like the Desert Rats or like the event at Dinosaur Journey, they can apply up to $1,000, and then tourism can spend those dollars. As they recommend or can send it to them. It is a reimbursement, so it's a dollar for dollar reimbursement. So we have to make sure that the expense is actually incurred before we send a check to the event organizers.
I think the budget is like for those mini grants, a total of $5,000 for the year.
Right. Yeah. We almost ran out last year, so we bumped it. And actually, I went to council for a contingency budget amendment last year because we were getting so many. But then it died down. But yeah, generally 4,000 to 5,000 for those smaller events. Or we've even funded marketing materials in the past if people are interested in like new marketing campaigns for their Fruita business or event.
Thanks for the reminders.
Of course.
Appreciate that there's
Yeah.
kind of built a matrix in terms of
Yep.
how to kind of rate things.
Yeah.
Process.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything else?
Nope, that's all for me.
Yes, I'm finally remembering to ask about the lights in Mulberry Plaza that are on the north side of, it's all north, but the northmost side of Mulberry Plaza. They're not working.
Oh, okay.
And it's been months.
Look into that. Oh,
Actually, like even when we had our concert, they weren't working, and I just have forgotten to mention it. So my apologies for the delay of.
we will get those fixed.
Has anyone received the survey yet?
Not yet. That the online survey is available, but everyone gets their unique code. So it's been mailed and sent priority. So hopefully we'll be
I just
received
wanted, I
soon.
was
Yep.
afraid that I wasn't sure what the envelope was going to look like or anything else. And I was afraid that it maybe said resident and nothing else. And I just wanted to make sure that
Yeah.
it has not been missed.
Yeah.
We said coming soon. So I've
Yep.
been looking for it. I wanted to make sure I had not mishandled.
Yeah. Not yet. No.
Yep. And then I want to let you guys know that I was asked to be a panelist at the GJEP Economic Summit, and I accepted about creative industry and such things. So I'm excited about that. Just today was asked about that. So, and I wanted to bring up, we've talked about this before, but irrigation, watering specific days. I know when we moved in almost 25 years ago, like we had specific days, and it's a general guide, but is it something that is enforced, or would it be enforced if we got to a point of significant drought? Like our watering days are mine are supposed to be Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. Like I've always adhered to that, but I don't even think people know a lot about it. I think we had it as a question one time, more recent, like last year, but I'm just curious about what was brought to us earlier.
Yeah, we do have a recommended watering schedule, especially for all of those on the city line. So we have two different irrigation systems. We have our Encanto line, which mostly feeds a lot of the subdivisions, and generally they set their own kind of watering rules, and any sort of enforcement would probably come from the HOA. Then we have our city system, which is the one that we maintain and help residents out with. We do have, suggestions, but it's nothing that's been enforced yet as far as that. And if there ever was any drought, we with code compliance and a few other things, we've often talked about like what council prefers as far as that. So we haven't been too strict, but we also haven't been kind of too lax. But that's something that hasn't been enforced just because how probably difficult it would be. Yeah.
We haven't, I mean, I guess it all depends what state of urgency
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
droughts. Okay.
Yeah.
So the,
you wanna-
sorry, so the
Yeah.
HOA trumps city?
Whatever's most strict. Yeah.
Okay.
So
The HOAs too, they're also responsible for their own. So we don't apply our rules to them. They probably just set their own. Yeah. Yeah.
Most of them have like a recommended day or a set schedule, or
Yeah.
it depends on pump capacity, and I
Yeah.
get into whole.
How many times the line breaks? Yes.
Yeah, your neighborhood's especially troublesome.
Just ask the chief.
Joe doesn't know yet.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, Joe. Sorry, Joe.
You ever want to know where the irrigation's lying on that side of the street? Know exactly where they are. Oh, yeah.
And I was remiss again, also at our last meeting, to follow up on something that was brought to us as well, in regards to easily accessible language.
Oh,
our
yeah.
website. I know we're working on that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Update on.
Yeah. So the House bill that was referenced is actually something we've been working on for several years. Ciara and her team, and Katie actually started off as an intern. Has it been a year and a half now? August 2023. And unfortunately, most of Katie's role was making sure that we were in compliance with accessibility standards. So yeah, the House bill that was brought up is something that we've been working towards. There was an extension last year that actually extended the deadline to meet those criteria until July 31st. It was actually a bill that was sponsored by Rose Puglisi. If anyone, she was one of our board and county commissioners 2010 to 2014, I think, or maybe prior to that. So we've been working on that. Our new website accessibility is going to be front of mind with that for sure. It's built out to where it's hopefully meets all those accessibility requirements. The trouble is our existing PDF documents. And that is an issue, and that's a challenge for, I think, almost all municipalities. In fact, we hosted the MCOA, which is the Mesa County Communications Officer Association. Did I miss a C? I feel like I missed a C. I thought there's 3 C's. MCOA board meeting last week, and the training was accessibility and how the city of Grand Junction has been working to meet these standards that are set by the governor's office, the Office of Information and Technology, and a few others. So we've been working a lot on that. We've also hosted internal trainings with our staff. So when you are uploading something to the website, it has to meet these standards. Our budget document 3 years ago, we added all of that language regarding, accessibility shortcuts. How you can have text to read and all of that's right in the front of it, the reader's guide to the document. And that's a fully accessible document with alt text as well. So we've been doing a lot. It's just so much to convert for those accessibility standards for sure. So yeah, and we've created guides with that. Actually, our guide has become a template for other municipalities throughout the state as well. So Ciara, anything else to add? It's a huge undertaking and it will always be ongoing for sure. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah.
And then I did a read through of all the bills and statutes that were mentioned. And part of what I gathered, some of those only apply at the state level.
Mhm.
But am I correct, though, even though they're written for the state level, we're working to comply with them on a municipal level as well?
Yeah, and some bills, yeah, they mostly apply to um, counties or cities that are statutory, but some also apply to the home rules. So this accessibility requirements is one that applies to us and one we've been working on a lot for these past 2 years. We've even talked about bringing out another intern just to help out. Those PDF documents are going to be the bulk of our problem just because they're years and years. I mean, we have council minutes going back to the 80s online, maybe the 90s. So those are going to be a challenge. Yeah.
And then as we move towards our workshop about deciding the number of applicants for the council seat, we're not discussing any applicants until that point. Are we comfortable knowing how many applications we have currently, or do we want to wait till later too? I'm just curious.
That's good curiosity.
I'm
Yeah,
curious.
Yeah, we
5.
have 5, yeah. And we were gonna ask maybe if there's like a certain number where you're like, where you can talk about this later, but we don't. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's.
I don't want
slide
to
for
tell,
that
yeah,
other meeting.
yeah, but I just was wondering where we stood right this second. So, okay, thank you so much.
Anything else?
That's all. Thanks.
Aaron?
Few items. Where are we at with the 123 grant? Are we still waiting on process? We're still in the middle of all that?
Yeah, for the Fruita Commons. Yes. Or the second Muse. Yep. The Fruita Muse. Yep. Yep. Haven't heard anything yet. They submitted a grant application, the formal grant application, which was kind of the next step, but we haven't heard anything from the state yet on that.
Second thing, if you could send out that list of stakeholders for
Yep.
work, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Last one is, can you guys just give a high level understanding of that SCIF level, the SCIF Avenue?
Sure. So there's kind of 2 projects. We have our 19 road project where the box culvert was just replaced, but there's also some development improvements that are being done as part of the final filing for Iron Wheel. So somebody from engineering or Dan, does anyone want to discuss that? Maybe. Yeah, 19. All right. Our new city engineer. Second day.
I'm glad I asked the question.
Can we do a slow clap or?
I think that's for when he's done.
Oh, okay. All right. All right.
What was the specific question?
Just update us on how that project or how that's come to be, just the history of it and what we've done to be
Sure.
transparent and compliant.
So as a lot of you know, the Grand Valley is full of drains. They're those really sharp, deep, man-made, they're not natural. They're in more of a grid pattern. One of the goals from the city of Fruita's point of view is to make roads on the quarter section lines. And a lot of drains are also on those same lines. And so when they applied for the next filing on Ironwell, one of our requirements was that they complete that grid section line between 19 Road and it'll make it to where Fremont Street will be, but it's not there yet. Because it's a drain, it's got water in the bottom of it. Because it's got water in the bottom of it, there's riparian habitat. It may or may not be a wetlands. I'm not qualified to answer that. When that subdivision was reviewed, and hasn't completed the review process, we keep having comments, but one of their asks was, can they start working on that drain, because once irrigation's in, it'll be a lot more difficult. And we did approve that part of it. We're not a wetlands regulatory agency. That's the Army Corps of Engineers. It's incumbent upon the applicant to make sure they meet those requirements. We don't enforce them. It's something in the future we'll remind them of, but it's not a task that the city of Fruita wants to take on. And so it's a little bit, yes, we approved the project, but it wasn't our responsibility to ensure those regulations were complied with. And so right now they're working with the Army Corps of Engineers. I don't expect they will have any trouble with it. Normally it's a matter of documenting it. And if it's below a certain threshold and I don't have those numbers in front of my mind, then they're allowed to do it. Okay. Right now, we've helped put them together with some environmental consultants that can help them through that.
Perfect. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Anything else, Aaron? You, James.
Just real quick, at the workshop, I mentioned, thanks to the city guys getting on the mitigation of the corner that I had talked about.
Okay.
None of them were here. I just wanted to bring that back up. And the reason I'm bringing it back up is I did get a email from the lady that brought it to my attention. And she said it looks so much better. You can actually see around the corner. So thank you so much. Thank you guys for jumping right on that. I really appreciate it. And I know that today, with it being snowy, made this next comment I'm going to make seem absolutely ridiculous. But this Saturday, we were at the dog park and it was 80 out, and we would have been appreciative to have the water turned on. So I know maybe today isn't the day that we'd have that conversation, but Saturday it sure would have been. So if we could get the water, I don't think we have any freezing coming up. But
We do. I think.
do we? Okay.
Just tonight, man.
So anyway, if we could get that on the calendar for after Mother's Day when you're supposed to plant. So I think that might be a good thing. But other than that, that's it for me.
I've got a couple things, and I apologize because we talked about who was going to cover board meetings. I can't remember who's going to cover the museum board. Is that you? Okay, then I got it correct, because they reached out wanting to make sure that somebody was there. I thought it was you. I just wasn't.
Yeah, and then I had asked Shannon today exactly when I'm supposed to be there and all that to make sure. So
I think it's the 4th.
23rd
Oh,
of this.
Yeah.
would you believe I was that close? Okay.
It's the fourth Wednesday.
Oh.
Yeah. So you had it. Yeah.
The 4. You were good.
Somewhere in there. Yeah.
Also, I noticed on the Fruita Chamber newsletter, the Fruita State of the Valley is when we are at CML.
Oh.
So I did reach out to them to let them know that was going to be a little difficult. I will see if, possibly we can do a Zoom in to be part of that. Yep. So I have not heard back, but I did bring that to their attention because I do want to make sure we're represented.
Yeah.
I know.
Date is that again?
Hey, I'm going to say the 24th and probably be wrong because
It's in August? No.
no, June. I just know because, I just know because I'm coming from Rhode Island from a wedding.
I do think most of council as well is going to CML, if not all.
I'm not,
Just you?
I'm not.
Okay.
going. I've got family reunion that,
So,
so some of it.
Okay.
okay.
And so we might be able to have.
All right. So there's some
something,
options
but
there.
We should talk about
Great.
that.
But I think I'll be going out of country then.
Take my wedding and trump that.
I mean, I would rather be at CML, but I really like Switzerland.
Wow.
Yeah, Rich with the mad flex. I like that. I like that, buddy.
Well played, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, but I'll continue to work with them on that.
Chocolate.
And I apologize because I've been thinking about this, so I wrote up my notes on this, so it's a little bit more formal than I normally am on this stuff. And I know we've had a number of questions recently come up. And I want to ask staff for help to make sure when I'm answering and we're answering them, that we do it consistently to the public. So Shannon and kind of team, appreciate your help in clarifying a few things. And if you could eventually pull together some sort of presentation for us. But in light of recent interest around 19 road expansion, in your presentation, could you walk us through the process the city uses to determine if and when a road should be expanded? And kind of around that, what factors trigger what factors or triggers are considered for that, like traffic studies or like kind of what all goes into that? And then what city departments or external agencies are typically involved in that decision-making process? What rules, what laws govern those expansions? Can you also explain, because we've had some questions about urban growth boundary, and actually what that means for Fruita? How is it determined? How is it updated? And what are the implications of somebody being inside versus outside the boundary in terms of planning, infrastructure, and the services we offer as a city? And then related to that, if a property is within the urban growth boundary, but not within the city limits, either if it's in an enclave or it's on the fringe, what entity controls those land use and zoning in that case? County, city, shared? If you could kind of highlight that. And I know I'm kind of asking a lot, so not necessarily at the next council meeting because we have the commissioners and other there, but in the near future, would you be so kind to, you and your team put together a presentation that walks us through these topics in more detail?
Absolutely.
If you'd like, because I just read through that very quickly, more than happy to kind of email this to you. So
Sure. Yeah.
that would be great.
Sounds
All
good.
right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else on council reports and action items? Okay.
Is the commissioner meeting a joint meeting with us or not? It's been communicated
Both ways.
both ways. What I'm asking is, are we expected to be there?
In
Council.
in the past, we've had a council member or mayor and a staff.
Said you will.
Yes.
Do we know if any other electeds are?
I think it usually depends on their schedule. Yeah, last time we had the state representatives, but then also we had some of the other electeds, like the assessor as well. So I think it depends. We can try to get some more additional information, but most of that time is spent for our residents to ask the commissioners things that are on their mind. We actually just met with a few people from Mesa County Communications on Friday. They're at that MCOA training, and I asked, is there anything that's kind of a trend, anything you've heard? And now that the recycling plant is over in Grand Junction, it's quiet for sure. Yeah, so hopefully
They're controlling the agenda and who's invited.
yeah, it's usually just a quick update and then questions. I think the last one maybe lasted an hour, maybe an hour, 15 minutes total. Yeah, but it's not an official meeting.
But the communication is that it's a joint meeting with the council. So I guess what I'm saying is it may be expected by the public whether we're expecting it. So that's what I'm asking. Should we plan on being?
I would say it. Oh, you want to go ahead?
I'm planning on being here. I felt like that was kind of how it
The
was
expectation.
presented.
That's-
Well, and like the
language.
yes, the things they've been putting out to the public, like it does look to me like if I was a member of the public, I would think, oh yeah,
We all are going to be here. That's how I took it as well. Thank you. Just wanted to make sure.
Rich, are you going to be in country?
Check his
Not sure. Let me.
All right, great.
Yeah.
All right, anything else before we close this? Okay, we have 2 executive sessions and I already know the answer to this. We're going to take a 5-minute bio break before we do the announcements to move into executive session. So the time is 8:45. I'll see you guys back at 8:50. Open meeting. So we're going to need a motion to go into 2 executive session meeting. So I'll need somebody to make a motion. I have language on mine for the first one.
I'll read that one if you want to give it to me. Is it on your iPad?
And very tiny.
That's fine. Right now? Are we good to go? Or we need to wait a little bit?
No, we are good to go for the motion.
iPads.
Okay.
Probably printed it on GJ paper too.
I move to go into executive session pursuant to CRS 24640224B for the purpose of conferencing with our city attorney to receive legal advice with regard to land use process. Is she?
Yeah, she is joining.
Second.
Okay, well, then we can also do the second executive
Right.
session motion at the same time, and we can do a motion and a second on both.
Okay.
I had a quick question for you guys, before you finish all your motioning. I know there was some public comment tonight, regarding the Beto's condemnation proceeding. If you guys want an update on that and where, where things are headed, that would require a separate motion to go into executive session for legal advice. I can give you that language. If you don't care about that tonight, that's totally fine. Just wanted to put that out there though, since it had been brought up.
I would, yes.
Okay, so that'll need to be, and I apologize, Deb, I think I interjected before you took the vote. So maybe there's a motion on the table.
No,
Why
there
don't
was
you
no
guys
vote.
finish that?
There's not been a vote.
We were gonna do all of the motions at once, so.
Do we need
So
to?
if you want to give us the verbiage, we'll just move yours and then we can do the other one.
Okay, so it would be similar to what was just read. It's just, so it will be, hold on, because I gotta get it. I don't have these memorized.
Do
believe
you
it or
want us to
not.
do one motion at a time, or do you want us to clump them all three?
You know what, for the record, why don't we do each at a time? So go ahead and vote on that one, and I will give you the language for the next
So
one.
I second.
What about the one for the city attorney's
We haven't
informal?
gotten to that one yet.
Okay, so we're doing the land use processes first.
Yes.
All right, and Aaron,
Counselor Hansi made the motion and I seconded.
all right, got it. Okay, Counselor Parrish.
Yes.
Counselor Miller.
Yes.
Counselor Williams.
Yes.
Counselor Hansi.
Yes.
Counselor Purser.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, then, Mary Elizabeth, if
Okay.
you can give us the language for the second
Sure.
one.
Sure. So it's a motion to go into executive session pursuant to CRS 24-6-4024B for the purpose of receiving legal advice from the city attorney with regard to Mesa County District Court case, City of Fruita versus Beto et al.
So moved.
Second.
All right. James
Counselor
first.
Miller.
Yes.
Counselor Williams.
Yes.
Counselor Hansi.
Yes.
Counselor Purser.
Yes.
Counselor Parrish.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay. And I move to go into executive session for discussion and possible action to consider a motion to convene an executive session regarding personnel issues under CRS section 24-6-4024F for the city attorney's annual informal review.
Second.
Counselor Williams.
I guess.
Counselor Hansi.
Yes.
Counselor Purser.
Yes.
Counselor Parrish.
Yes.
Counselor Miller.
Absolutely.
Motion passes 5-0.
Who seconded that one? I was too busy